Hi, my name is Quilliam, and in this ukulele lesson we're going to be learning about how to get various different tones out of your ukulele. Now, a tone is often a combination of dynamics or volume, the natural harmonic resonance of an instrument, both the broader instrument family and also the specific one that you're actually playing, and also the way you play it. Now, on a string instrument, that could be to do with the fingers and using picks or nails and things, as well as where along the strings you actually create the sound. I'm going to delve into some of the basics to get you going on exploring tone. There's so much more that I could say. However, if you'd like to learn more, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and consider having a one-to-one lesson with me. I do lessons in my local area in North Hampshire and at my university in Chichester, or if you'd like to have an online lesson with me, I'm available for Skype or Zoom tuition as well. Now, without further ado, let's explore tone. Let's cover the first of those things, the dynamics. Dynamics is a sort of separate thing from tone. It's not exclusive to tone, however, it does have its place when we're talking about tone. There are two ways you can think about tone. Tone is in sort of the mood or feeling of a song, and tone as in the quality and the sort of timbre of a note. In this video, and generally in music, the word tone is the latter, so the quality of the sound. And tone, as in mood, is often called the mood or the affection. The affection of a song that is quite loud, or where you play the notes harshly and aggressively, is often either very energetic, and that has connotations of excitement and happiness, or it could be a sort of more sad thing, sort of anger perhaps. And if you play it quietly, you get this sort of soft, relaxed, really nice sort of smooth effect, or a sort of shy timidness as well. I'll just demonstrate how we can create dynamics. The dynamics is simply the amount of force that you put through the right hand in order to create the sound. If I do a really big strum, and then I do a really subtle strum, the volumes between the two give the same chord very different effects. Not only are the strings vibrating more and therefore louder, but also the physics of the instrument project different qualities onto our ears as well. That's just something to consider when you're learning songs, whether you want to strum quietly or loudly in certain sections, regardless of whether the overall piece is loud or quiet. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the instrument itself. Now, ukuleles, there's always an ongoing debate about what the best strings are and what the best wood is for ukulele. And the answer is there is no best. Everyone has their own favourites, or even then they have favourites, they have several that they like. All of my ukuleles have different strings because I feel that the strings either complement each ukulele or that I want a different thing out of each ukulele. I try and make the most of my ukulele acquisition syndrome and give each one its own purpose. So this is a howlet, and it's made of koa wood, and it comes with Worth Brown strings. It has a really nice sweet sound, mellow Hawaiian style sound. It's really nice and jangly, but it has some warmth in it as well, as we'll come on to explore later. This is in contrast to my Kala tenor archtop. Now, this has D'Addario strings, which is a bit more cool, if you like, in terms of sort of cool jazz music. It still sounds like a ukulele, but especially with that low G, it has, as I say, a cool effect. Like, not serious, but not sort of slightly mad ukulele plucker sort of style sound either. It has a sort of a nicer sort of edge to the sound that's a little bit more serious. So how does this affect your playing? Well, one of the main considerations you have to make when buying a ukulele, apart from the actual playability, is it comfortable in the hand, etc., is actually the tone that it creates. That's what you're listening for when you decide whether you like ukulele or not. And even then you've got to try different strings. I always try different strings every time I get a new ukulele until I find one that suits. If you play every style like I do, then you won't find one instrument that does them all. That's why I have so many, or at least that's how I justify it to myself anyway. I need them so I can have one ukulele where I can play Pima, sort of Spanish style, another where I can play cool jazz. You might have a similar situation too. You might also be just a player of one particular style. You might have come from classical guitar and so you're sort of playing more Pima, like that. Or you just want to have a good old strum along. You've got to really consider what you actually want from your instrument, what the type of music you're going to be making is, when you decide to make a purchase. Try and listen to some of the music that you're creating already and think about what sort of style am I playing, what tone does that bring out for me, what affection am I creating, what do I want to achieve when I play. I hope that inspires your purchase and helps you make an informed decision. The last thing I want to talk about is the actual quality of notes as well. This is an example of how you can think of this, is how a middle C on a ukulele sounds different to middle C on a clarinet or on a euphonium. You can tell that they're different instruments, but they are the same pitch. Now how does that work? Much like how white light isn't actually white, it's made up of all the colours, and you can split them up when you refract them. A note isn't just the fundamental note that you hear, they have a series of harmonic overtones that harmonise with the note. The note that you actually hear, in this case the middle C, is called the fundamental note because it's the note you hear, but there are dozens of other notes ringing out them more subtly, and you can release them by creating artificial harmonics. What you're doing there is releasing the notes that aren't the fundamental and letting the string play something else. This is why different instruments sound different, because the different shapes and the different materials that instruments can have affect the way that these various overtones vibrate and therefore affect the fundamental. Some instruments are more round than others. That's because a lot of bass frequencies get lost in corners and don't reflect back to our ears as well. This is why you'll most often never see a square ukulele. The bass will just get trapped in the corners. So we keep things nice and round, and the degree to the roundness is will affect the tone because of how the different notes vibrate, etc. Again, different instruments have this quality come naturally to them. However, there are ways to exploit these differences and create different tones on the same instrument. One way of creating different tone is through exploring the right hand, or the strumming hand. I often strum with my thumb, the flesh of my thumb, when I'm creating soft tones, and I also strum right slap bang in the middle of the strings. Now in the middle of the string, at the 12th fret, there's the least tension, because of course the strings are held in place by the nut and the bridge. Right up here there's the most tension, because this is just where the string meets the bone. However, in the middle the strings are allowed to move freely, and so they can vibrate here much more freely than they can here, which means more overtones can ring out when I strum here, and I am able to bring out some of the softer, more bassy overtones and create a nice, really warm, mellow sound. Alternatively, if I want to create a really harsh sound, I'll strum with the nail of my finger and I'll strum up here. This is where the strings can't vibrate as much and they're a lot more tinny and loud. Can you hear the difference? Strumming in the bridge is something called Ponticello, or sol Ponticello, and that's something that's often created in really harsh extremes. If you want to learn more about sol Ponticello, I'd recommend a piece that I'd put in the description called Petals. This is by a really sort of modern composer who takes Ponticello to the absolute limit, playing right up against the bridge to create a really harsh sound. The music is not for everyone, I'll give you that, but even if you just listen to 30 seconds, you'll get the idea of what I'm talking about. Of course, there are midway points between playing with the fingernail here and the thumb here. You can use the finger here, or the thumb here. Just have an experiment, have an explore, see what you like. Where exactly on the strings do you want to play? Who knows? Have an explore. And so if you are playing a song that's quite mellow in affection, play like this, but then in the next song, maybe you're a little more angry or more jangly and upbeat, so you want to play sort of round maybe by the sound hole. You can also even play with multiple fingers, which creates even more sort of jangly, upbeat and loud sounds. Why stop at each song in a set list? Listen to how I play this version of Blue Skies and notice how I change my right hand technique to create a different tone, how I like to contrast the really passionate chorus that I'll sing first with the more sort of gentle verse that I'll sing after. Never saw the sun shining so bright, I never saw things going so right, noticing the day hurrying by, when you're in love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. I hope you noticed the difference there, and I hope it gives you some inspiration to try out lots of different techniques regarding your tone. As I say, I don't want to give everything away in this little video. I actually teach more about tone in one of my workshops that I do for festivals. If you'd like to book me to give a talk or a festival at your ukulele club or music workshop, music festival, then please visit www.matthewquilliam.co.uk and head over to the tuition and workshops page. I'd be very happy to come and teach you and your group some more things about the ukulele. And as I say, I have a full workshop on tone, amongst other things as well. Please like and subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you in the next video very soon.